There's one thing most people won't do to lose fat because it's boring. Here's what it is, why this works so well, and how to make this task automatic so that you see results. Because there's a good chance that you're doing everything right. You're eating clean, you're paying attention to the foods that you are having, you are tracking everything. You're tracking your weight, body measurements, things like that. And you're consistently hitting your steps and hitting your workouts, but still struggling to lose weight. But in this video, I'm gonna tell you a silent killer that is ruining all this progress of you being so perfect. So here's what it is, and I'm gonna show you a real life example that I just recorded just prior to this video. So you can see in this first clip that I'm recording, the first serving size that I had, and as you can see from this is not gonna be just regular peanuts. I had chocolate covered ones just because it's the only thing that I had in my place because somebody gifted it to me. But I took a handful of the first chocolate covered peanuts and it ended up being roughly 48 grams just from that first handful. Now, if we were to look at the label, which I have pulled up here as well, it is going to be 28 grams that the label says in a real serving size. And this is where most people go wrong. They go and grab that handful and they're like, yeah, this is what a serving size really is. When in reality, I took almost double the amount of calories. Now, is it exactly double? No, of course not. But I went from something that I thought was roughly about 160 calories to something that was basically 300 calories from taking a whole handful. So I added almost an extra like 120 to like 140 calories. Now let's look at another example that I just did that's extremely common for a lot of people. A lot of times people will take a big spoonful of peanut butter and be like, yeah, this looks like one tablespoon of peanut butter. When in reality, I'm gonna show you here what a real tablespoon of peanut butter really looks like. When I took that first one, it was 42 grams, this massive thing. It was literally what like a double, it was more than what like 2 tablespoons of peanut butter really is. Whereas the back of the label, 2 tablespoons is actually gonna be 36 grams. I cut it in half and I'm showing you what 1 tablespoon really looks like, and it's not that much. And just by doing that, you can literally double the amount or more, which in this case I did more than double the amount of calories. And this was not something like pre-planned. Like I took a big scoop, what I used to do in the past all the time, and it ended up being a ton more calories. Like if you do the math, it's gonna be roughly around like 200 more calories just from one little mess up. Now let's take another huge example that people do all the time is they mess up the amount of olive oil that they're putting on a pan. Now I use a quick pan spray, but a lot of people will do this, and this not only goes for what you put on a pan, but this also goes for what you're putting in a salad. A lot of times people will greatly or underestimate the amount of olive oil that they are using when they use a salad or they put it on a pan, because this counts as calories too. So me just pouring what I thought could be roughly like a normal serving size or what people would tend to pour ended up being 26 milliliters. Now a real and actual serving size, looking at the label, ended up being 15 milliliters, and that's gonna be 120 calories just for what a serving size is. And like I said, I almost doubled that, which would add roughly an extra 100 calories that I didn't account for if I was tracking food. Now, how do I know this? Because I pulled out a food scale and showed you what these end up looking like. This is a simple, boring task that you can do, is pull out a scale and start weighing out your foods. It is not complicated. An easy thing that you can do, let's say you're using olive oil, put the olive oil on top of the scale, you can zero it out, and then when you pour it into a pan, put it back on the scale, and it'll show you in negative. So if you're trying to get 15 milliliters, you just had it go to negative 15 milliliters. This could literally save you thousands of calories in 1 week by doing this boring, simple task. But here's why this works so well. Now I'm gonna use Claude to show you a simple diagram of how important that this really is, because Claude makes great diagrams. So as you can see within this diagram that I am showing you, your deficit is, let's say, 300 calories for this example. A lot of times people have roughly than 500 calories, maybe even 1,000, okay? And that's gonna be on the higher end of this. But let's just say 300 calories, which is gonna be a very conservative amount. If you were to eat one of those mess ups or slip ups that I said, and you have over an extra 200 calories from the peanut butter, or maybe you had another like 2 mess ups in just one day, that puts you over 300 calories. So that deficit that you thought you had now ends up adding to being over, or having no deficit, going over your calories, right? So you end up not even showing that. So as you can see in this example that I'm showing you, you end up having no deficit anymore. Now, if you were to space this out over a week, because you're gonna see a lot of issues with this, because you're gonna have multiple times you're gonna slip up. It's not gonna just be one time where it happens. Now, if this will add up over that week to the point that you may not even have a deficit anymore, like I showed you, or you may be even going into a surplus. Like, as you can see by this diagram that I'm showing you and what I've showed you, a calorie deficit literally lives and dies within 200 to 500 calories. This is why it is so important important to be tracking things consistently, so important to actually pull out a scale and make sure you're doing the right things, because eyeballing stuff, we tend to greatly underestimate foods. Like I guarantee if you were to take probably a poll of people and you were to have them eyeball a portion size of just regular food that they put on their plate, they are going to tend to put way more than what an actual serving size really is. And like I said, this goes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. These will start to rack up, and before you know it, you thought you were doing all the right things, and when in reality, you weren't. And this is why people feel like they're doing all the right things and they're wondering why they're not losing weight, when in reality, it's not the method that's the problem. It's literally just the measurement that they are doing. Now, if you need to know how many calories to eat in a calorie deficit, how to manage all the things that could go wrong within a calorie deficit and make it sustainable, then I've made a whole free mini course that you can click the link in the description, completely free. Literally had somebody comment the other day, say, oh, you're hopping on the mini course train, when in reality, it's literally free. Now, let's talk about how to fix this and how to make this automatic for you. You don't need to weigh forever. You just need to be able to calibrate your eye. It's kind of like getting an oil check. Your car's good for a while, and then it slowly starts to need more oil. So you go back in for that oil check, and you end up getting it serviced, and now you don't need it for a little while. Weighing your food can be the exact same thing. You need to train yourself to learn what a serving size really looks like. Now, if you've never done this before, you need to probably meticulously track your food when you're losing weight, so you know exactly what you are doing. And after you're able to do this for about 2 to 3 months, you're gonna start learning how to, or knowing exactly what serving sizes are, knowing what calories are in certain foods, and then when maybe you in the future decide to do another calorie deficit, you may just want to refresh yourself. Or maybe it's been a couple months where you get off of it and you haven't been tracking things. You just need to refresh yourself. Or if you need to hold yourself more accountable, this is another way to do that. It's just like an oil change. But you need a period of time where you are deliberate with it to learn this. 1 week is not enough. You need probably 2 to 3 months to see progress. Now, not every food is worth weighing. If you're eating vegetables that don't have much olive oil on them, you don't really need to track them unless it's a higher calorie vegetable like a potato. But if you're having broccoli, having spinach, or whatever it is, you don't really need to worry about tracking them because they're so low in calories. Or if it's some sort of Coke Zero, Monster Zero, I don't know, whatever it is, that's like 5-10 calories, you don't need to worry about tracking that either. But start being deliberate, because a lot of people are going to miss certain things. Track every single thing in your diet, because a lot of people are going to miss sauces, they're going to miss olive oil, you're going to miss these things that end up racking up and can technically ruin your deficit. So it's literally all you need to do. Go on to Amazon, buy the cheapest weighing scale, and now keep this in an area that you are going to use consistently. It's going to add an extra 5 seconds. A lot of people are going to sit here and be like, oh, this is going to add too much time. Literally, what's going to add too much time is you sitting there, not making progress, and continuously over and over and over again, not losing weight. Now you're wasting a ton of your days, months, years. Get a scale, put it in a spot that you are can continuously use it, zero it out, and start weighing things. It's going to add an extra 5 seconds, and now start tracking it into some sort of app, tracking in the notes on your phone how many calories you're having. I don't care what it is, but after you put the heavy work for that first week of trying to log all your food, it's going to all already be in there. It's going to start being automatic for you. Now, this is happening with your meals, but it can be even worse with snacking because of how quickly that this can rack up. Because most people don't even realize why they're snacking and how to fix it. And I made a simple system that you can use to help fix your snacking, and all you need to do is watch this next video here.